good. Another uncut entry. I think I'll just stand up for this week's one because I got some bits to show and tell. All right, let me just pick out my notes and see what's up. Cool, so a little recap of this week. Had 3 bar shifts. 2 of them were 10-hour shifts. Fucking long ass. Man, one of them was super busy, and that just made me realize how much I hate people, especially the ones who drink in the bar. Corporate people. Oh my days. But yeah, began applying to brand strategists roles this week, sending out my updated resume, being more strategic with it, and being more tailored, and not just, spam applying. And yeah, started hitting the gym again, but just being, what do you call it, little light with the weights, and just focusing on cardio and avoiding the heavy bags, boxing stuff, because it's all the rotations that I've been doing that has been messing up my, or making my back ache. So I'm avoiding those for the meantime until, I get my back, fairly close to 100% healed or whatever. And yeah, this week I bought the shout out to Vega Textiles in North London. I went and bought 4-meter roll of 14-ounce denim fabric, and I also began creating the third sample for the POG denim jacket. I'll be showing that in a bit. And also finishing off a client's work. My good friend Eben, shout out, doing up his logo for his business venture that he's building. Yeah. But yeah, this week, let's see what went well this week. Yeah, I'm almost halfway to completing the third sample of the POG denim jacket. I have it right here. Been working on this week, and to be fair, it has. I've done a lot of iterations and prototypes. To be honest, this whole section here is just like developing the denim jacket. Let's see. All right, so let's just go through building off the third prototype. I didn't get to showcase this on last week's uncut entry because my girl was wearing this, so couldn't show it. But yeah, essentially I've done as much of the corrections that I can from the previous prototype, so the version 2. And what I realized is when I was making this third sample is that this had further issues, and that's just because with Calico fabric, it's obviously a lighter weight than this denim jacket, 14-ounce fabric. so the way it sits on the body is different. So then I sort of saw some issues regarding the fit, especially with the fabric bunching up a little too much on the shoulder area. But then on the sample, I mean, sorry, on the prototype, it didn't really. I mean, I saw a bit of it, that there's a bit of bunching, but it wasn't too obvious, right? Until I used this denim jacket, because it's more rigid, the fabric, so it doesn't just fall onto the body. Like it has structure to it. So if there's issues, you can really see that it's like sticking out, you know. So what I did was, on there was excess fabric on the chest area, so I added a dart. So I'm basically doing amendments on the fly. Like, these adjustments should have been done on the pattern, this pattern here. So I would need to update that. And also, my DT teacher back then always said this: measure twice, cut once. I didn't do that. I was too lazy to do that. And this is like the original. This is version 1 of the POG denim sample. And I didn't bother, measuring. I mean, I have the measurements somewhere on my laptop, but I didn't bother measuring the spec against the prototype. I mean, against this main reference from the prototypes I made. And then this week I started measuring it, and then saw that the measurements are way off. Like, there's a lot of excess fabric, you know? And the fit on this version 1 sample is what I love. And that not translating into the prototypes, and then now the third sample, because I wasn't, measuring and checking, means now I have to redo the adjustments on this actual sample, instead of doing it on the prototypes, where it's a lot easier since it's just a calico fabric. But then now I have to do it on denim, which is, it requires a little bit more work because of the thickness of the fabric. But it is what it is. There's some bits that I had to adjust, such as the on top of the darts that I added. The sleeve opening needed to be larger. The opening needed to be larger, just for movement, And the waistband, yeah, the way I did it with the prototypes, I would fold it 2 times. And with the calico fabric, you can easily do that for the hem, to get a clean hem. But obviously, denim is a little bit too thick, on the thicker side, so it's gonna be a little harder to do that, and there'll be too much bulk, and it won't look as clean. So what I decided is I will be adding a waistband, a minimal waistband, so similar to what you have on this jacket. So like this part, just a simple one. I won't add any hardware to it, because I don't really care about that. I mean, to me, I removed that on the version 1 sample, because to me, I don't think it adds functionality wise, it doesn't really add anything much, especially because the fit was a baggy fit. It's not something that if you clasp it, it tightens it all the way. And it doesn't do that. So I just decided to remove it and then carry that onto this version 3 sample. What else is there? Yeah, there's. Oh, why is there freaking. Anyways, what else is there? But anyways, I still have to do up the sleeves, and since I amended this sample, I will need to update the pattern of the sleeve and make sure that the dimensions match the opening, because if it doesn't, then you're gonna end up with some puckering or some pleats if the sleeve is a lot bigger than this, or if it's smaller as well. So I would need to update that. Actually, there's also issues with the sleeve that I need to update, so I need to do that also. But yeah, and then the collar opening, let me just see. Someone pointed out that it's slightly high, but I think it's fine because that's probably like the one that remained untouched and I quite like. But also what I realized is that there's a bit of bunching at the back of the neck. Let me see. Yeah, you can see it. So I'll have to add pleats on that to address that issue so that it basically hugs the nape of the neck a lot better. So I have this for reference. This has 2 darts. I was meant to say darts, not pleats. 2 darts. So I'll probably do something similar on the back to take off some fabric so to allow it to curve more instead of bunching up. And that's probably something I might end up keeping as a design feature. Even the darts here, I mean, I probably won't elongate it as much, maybe halfway point. I think having a dart there to follow the curved nature of the chest, I think that elevates the whole design also. Other than that, I think we're on track of being able to finish this by the end of the month, even sooner, maybe end of the week. This weekend, this coming weekend, I can get this done, and then I can move on to doing up the embroidery, hand embroidery. So screen printing a guideline, and then sewing a hand embroidering over it with like a knitting yarn. So it's a thick weave of fabric or thread, sorry. to give this nice 3D embroidery and, handcrafted graphic look. Yeah, I'll probably have to do it in white instead of this cream or off-white color. But yeah, no, this takes a week. So hopefully, it only took a week because it was hard to sew between the seams because the seams are like super fucking thick. But in the areas where it's just like, this, it was quite straightforward to sew, hand embroider. That's why I updated this to have like a curved back yoke and remove the unnecessary seams that made it hard for me to hand embroider the back. But yeah, I can't wait because in November, 1st of November, I'll be heading to Japan. And then I could, bring this there, take some photo shoots and shit, and then, slowly start marketing this shit. Because ideally, I'd like to drop early 2026. And if I can, grab some material, some images and whatnot whilst I'm in Japan, then that'd be dope. Especially Japan. Japan is like the place for denim. Like in terms of denim, they have like the best shit. So I think it'll be great to actually go there and see, not just take photo shoots, but actually see some denim pieces and then have some inspo there. But yeah, no, I love where this is heading. I think focusing on a single product for pioneers of greatness, I think that's the way to go. I mean, I'll still have the sleeveless tees, the knitwear, training vest, and whatnot. But I think having that one product where you just ace it, I think that's, especially when it's as complicated as a denim jacket, I think that's a perfect move for me, especially where I'm positioning Pioneers of Greatness as a fashion brand and not like a streetwear brand. Because right off the back, streetwear brands don't drop denim jackets on their first drop, you know, or their launch or whatever. And that's why I'm focusing on, especially, it's not even like that, there's a lot of bits that denim jacket sort of encapsulate, and especially with the brand being Pioneers of Greatness, merging boxing and fashion, there's a lot of concepts to play with. And what was the time? Let me see if I could. Yeah, I guess I got time. Basically, the denim jacket, right? That first came about in the, I think it must have been late or mid 1800s, popularized in the early 1900s. This was what workwear, people, the working class people, a lot. I would say it's popularized a lot more in America than it is in the UK. But yeah, no, people who worked in the coal mines and those type of environments, they wore denim because denim's quite rigid and, what do you call it? Rigid and, what's that word, man? It was literally in my tongue. Rigid and, fuck, man. It just means that it can withstand wear and tear. And yeah, the working class wore it as a uniform. And actually, boxers, yeah, in the late late 1800s, early 1900s, it's a poor man's sport, and most of them, if not all of them, were working class. A handful of them were in the mines, so most probably they would be wearing denim, and I think it's a great symbol for working towards like the working like to represent working hard, working hard, grit, and all of those components that a fighter or a boxer has, which surrounds denim, and it just goes hand in hand. I mean, I could go deeper into this in another episode entry, but right now that's sort of like the idea I have for even having denim, like having denim for the brand. Like you'd be like, oh, if you're doing boxing, then why do you have a denim jacket? There's a lot of history with denim that overlaps with boxing, like I previously mentioned. So those are the things that I'm like exploring when it comes to choosing what products, what sort of clothing that I'd like to do. I mean, a lot of it is inspired by my wardrobe, but then a lot of the things in my wardrobe are from the world of, hip hop, boxing, and most of this shit is timeless pieces. I mean, like, you got bomber jackets, you got leather jackets, suede jackets. I mean, I guess I like timeless pieces. And that's sort of the pieces that I would like to also push for Pioneers of Greatness. I'm not really into this whole what do you call it? Following trends and shit. Like, I want you to cop a Pioneers of Greatness and keep it for as long as you'd like. But yeah, let me see if there's any other shit that I could have missed out on. But yeah, no, a little reflective moment. I actually just realized a couple days ago, and even yesterday actually, I was looking at this section here. I'm like, fuck. I only started creating prototypes around July. So July, August, September, October. So it's only been like 3 months. And to be fair, I produced quite a bit. 3 prototypes for the POG denim jacket, 2 samples for the POG denim jacket. This is the second one. At least within the period of from July till now. And then made the knitwear sample, sleeveless tee sample, and then I also did I do yeah, I did prototypes of these as well, but they're not here because I think I repurposed them. I used them to make another prototype because it was a lot of fabric. I did pattern making. Shit, I did a whole bunch of shit, man. Like, I'm literally my own in-house manufacturer. And the more I do it and the more consistent I am, the quicker I am and more efficient I am with the whole thing. Like I said before in the previous entries, the very first POG denim jacket prototype that I did, which is this, took me like a good week, right? Good week to do. But then now I could bust out if I really sit down, I could do up a denim jacket in a day. And that's with like the actual fabric. But yeah, no, I'm happy, man. I'm happy that I'm finally bringing my design ideas to life, because these designs, I've designed this like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, you know, the ideas were there, but the skill set just wasn't there for me to, execute. But now that I'm building up that skill set, I'm bringing it to life little by little. And that's what, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I need a day job, a high paying day job that is office based. I can work from home a couple of days so that, I can focus on building POG. Like my main focus is POG. The day job, that's the side hustle, man. This, what you see here, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like if money wasn't a thing, this is the shit I'd be doing anyways. And I'm just glad that I'm doing it now, really doing it in the whole nitty gritty of things. But yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to get this done and just fucking wear the fuck out of it. And then start creating campaigns around it and sharing the thought process and like the story behind it a lot more in depth. But yeah, I think that's pretty much for today. Actually, yeah, I forgot. I'm also donating. I started fundraising for the Little Princess Trust. That's why I have this. Oh, I have this badge here. I've been growing out my hair for the last. It will be 3 years in January when I donate my hair, and this will be the first time I'm fundraising. So far, I've raised, I think, £225. I need to raise £700 by January, and that's the amount needed to turn a hair donation into a hair wig, which is then given for free to a young person or a child undergoing cancer treatment. So obviously they lose their hair, and a way to bring back their confidence and happiness in the midst of the madness is, having real hair wig to wear. And this is actually my second time donating. So in total, it would be like 3 years, I mean, 6 years worth of growing my hair out. And I'm going to be doing this indefinitely as long as I still have head on my scalp. But yeah, that's what I started this week as well. Just wanted to plug it in here. So yeah, that's it from me. I'm out. Peace.